I've run into a problem with this year's garden, and it all stems around tomatoes. I love growing tomatoes in my garden. I love having a huge abundance of tomatoes so I can do all sorts of canning recipes, but this year, I don't even know where to start. There are so many different varieties that I want to try and grow, but the problem is that my garden's not big enough and I want to grow a lot of each of them so I can have an abundance. So let's go through the different varieties I want to grow and all of the issues I'm running into. So let's start with the determinate tomatoes. There's only 3, so that's easy, right? Determinate tomatoes are the tomatoes that grow to a certain height. I usually use tomato cages and thin them out so they don't get too big and bushy, and you get your whole lot of tomatoes all at one time. This is really good for canning because you get all your tomatoes at once rather than having to store them in the freezer and saving them when you have enough. So this is the good stuff. I like to plant a lot of these. Typically, I fill one of my raised garden beds with my determinate tomatoes, and I can fit 12 determinate tomatoes in that garden bed. This year I wanted to expand on that a little bit more because I not only want to have red sauce, but I want to also have yellow sauce as well. So I have 3 different types. I have my Sicilian sauce tomatoes. These are the ones that I grow every year, and they are kind of hit or miss. When I get them, they're beautiful, beautiful tomatoes, but other years they just get disease before they put off a big glut of tomatoes, so I don't really get much. So I wanted to try another variety of them, and that's when I found online in one of the Facebook groups, Scoresby Dwarf. So Scoresby Dwarf is meant to give off really good paste tomatoes. They're meant to be bigger than your Romas or Sicilian paste tomatoes, and they're apparently better. Perfect. Settled. That's what I thought in autumn because I just had my 2 different varieties. I was going to grow both. I was just going to add in a couple extra into a different bed. I was going to add them into my pepper bed, cut down on the peppers a little bit, sorted. But then I remembered I made a yellow tomato sauce this year and it was so good. So good. It's a little bit sweeter. It just has a beautiful, beautiful taste to it. And it's not that I want to get rid of my red sauce, still love the red sauce, but I wanted to add and do yellow sauce as well. So that's where my Sean's yellow tomatoes come in. These are a determinate yellow tomato, and I thought, beautiful. I will grow these in my garden this year. And then there are my majority of my tomatoes, my red tomatoes, my yellow tomatoes. That's easy, right? Determinate tomatoes, sorted, got it. But then comes the indeterminate tomatoes. Now, indeterminate tomatoes are the ones that need to be trellised. They will just keep growing and growing and growing and growing. And I do have a tomato bed that I use for trellising my indeterminate tomatoes. And in that bed, I can fit 15 tomatoes, possibly 21 if I push it a bit, which of course I'm going to push it a bit. So, and this is only a thought I had this year. You know, when I had all these tomatoes, I thought I typically would plant 5 along the trellis and get them to grow up. But then I thought, well, the bed is wide enough where I could probably fit some away from the trellis and then have them grow up a little bit, and then I'll bring them in to the main trellis. So I thought we could fit like 21 indeterminate tomatoes in that bed. Fine, that's also sorted, right? Well, it was because I had also decided I'm not going to grow any cherry tomatoes. Last year I had tons of cherry tomatoes, and while we ate a lot of those fresh, there was such an abundance that I was also able to dehydrate a lot of them. And I have still jars and jars of dehydrated cherry tomatoes because you dehydrate them and then you rehydrate them a little bit to get sun-dried tomatoes. But I haven't done that. So I still have all of those dehydrated cherry tomatoes. So I thought, I don't need to grow cherry tomatoes this year because we can use regular sized tomatoes on our salads and for fresh eating. We don't need them to be cherry. But then what happened is all of the new seed varieties came out on the seed website that I go to, which is King Seeds, and there were a lot of new varieties. And now I'm not just planting seeds for myself. I also plant seeds to sell at the market. And I thought, well, not only do I want to try all these new varieties, but it's justified because if I want to sell these new varieties possibly next year, I need to know what they're all like so that I can talk to others about them and how they grow and what they taste like and if there's any issues with them. So naturally, that's a very justified answer. I need to grow all the types of tomatoes, right? So let's talk about that. Where to begin with these? How about we start with all of the beefsteaks that I plan on growing this year? So I have not always been a fan of the big beefsteak tomatoes, at least not when you're eating them fresh and on salads, but they are good for creating a thicker, nice sauce. Even though they have a lot of seeds, they're good for sauce. So there is a beefsteak select that King's was selling this year. It's a beefsteak. I thought it might be a good one to sell at the markets, but again, I haven't tried it, so we need to. So that one, just your basic beefsteak. Black Krim, your black Krim tomatoes. These are also another popular beefsteak tomato. Lots of people love them. So this was actually a free seed packet that I got when I bought the Scoresby Dwarf. So I thought, I'll grow a couple. I'm not a huge fan of the black Krim, but why not? Then I did get this year Paul Robeson tomatoes. These were actually ones I was excited about. These are a beefsteak tomato, but they are meant to have such good flavor, like a smoky flavor. So these Paul Robeson ones are ones I actually wanted to try in advance, like before I saw all these seeds and was overwhelmed with joy. Then if we go off of the beefsteak a little bit, so I had 3 beefsteaks that I wanted to try. I take that back. I had 4 beefsteaks because the Kellogg's Breakfast was a new one this year at King Seeds. This is an orange tomato, and this is like a beefsteak tomato. And orange is along with like the yellowish ones that I wanted to make sauce out of. So this orange one had to try, and it has a cool name, Kellogg's Breakfast. Why would you not want to try it? Sounds like a cereal. So that was one I was also excited about, along with the Paul Robeson, because now I had a red beefsteak and an orange beefsteak in case my determinate tomatoes are a bust. So, along with, okay, I'm not done with the beefsteak. I thought I only had a couple. That's not true. So I had 3 red beefsteak tomatoes, and now I'm looking, I actually have 3 non-red beefsteaks. So I have that orange Kellogg's Breakfast, but I also have my Dr. Weichi. This is the big yellow beefsteak tomatoes. I've grown these for a couple of years. I really like the flavor, but as far as growing them, it's been hit or miss. The first year I grew them, I had some weird ones grow that were not Dr. Weichi's at all. But then I did have one plant that did give me proper tomatoes, and they were good. So I grew them last year. I had good luck with them last year. We got enough to make sauce out of. They have a really nice flavor. This, I actually wrote orange beefsteak. I thought they're yellow. I guess they're like a yellowish orange. So, all right. So now we're looking at Kellogg's Breakfast and Dr. Weichi, kind of the same, but different. But I mean, we have to try different varieties. And if you try the new variety, you have to also try the old variety at the same time, so you can do a taste test and actually see which one you like better. And then I also have pineapple tomatoes. This was another one that before the new season came, I really, really wanted to try this year, pineapple tomatoes. I've heard so much about them. These are meant to be massive. So this is a yellow fruit. It says sweet, fruity, prolific, and they grow up to 2 pounds each. Yes, please. I'll take that. So we're trying pineapple tomatoes this year. This was another one I was super excited about. So everything's going great, right? All these tomatoes sound fantastic. And then to go back to the red ones, but now we're talking about your ox heart. So ox heart tomatoes are also big, meaty tomatoes. They are good for sauces as well and for canning. Last year, the past couple years, I've grown Albenga ox hearts. I like the size of them. I like them cooked. However, I do not like their shelf life. I find that they get soft very quickly and go bad very quickly. So I already knew I was steering away from them this year, but I did still want to grow them because they give off big tomatoes. Another one that I saw that I thought would be good for the market because it's a very, very popular red tomato is your moneymaker. Now, the moneymaker tomato is like your basic salad tomato. They're beautifully shaped and they're popular. And I thought this would be good for the markets, but again, I've never grown it before, so I should probably try and grow it. But I'm not overly excited about this one. I mean, everyone else in the house will be happy to see this one because they like the perfectly shaped round salad tomatoes that you can buy at the grocery store. They will be very happy to see some of these tomatoes in here because I typically have not your normal ones. I also saved seeds from a grocery store tomato just to see what I would get. And I wanted to try growing a couple of those this year. Then there is another one that is indeterminate, that is orange. Now, this is a golden light aroma tomato. This one I saw on the website this year and I was so excited I had to have it. I don't think I've ever seen aroma that was any other color than red. Maybe I just haven't been around much, but I haven't. And I had to try this one. An orange aroma sounds awesome. And now when I was looking at this on the website, it's called a heritage food crop. And I just have it up on here. I want to read to you a little bit about what that means. So apparently this is an heirloom tomato, but it also is meant to be better for your health, apparently, because of its color. So this says, this golden light orange aroma has been around in Europe since 1520, so it's an heirloom seed. So in these orange tomatoes, they apparently have a highly beneficial tetracis lycopene, and it's easily absorbed by the human body when eaten raw. Okay, so the Romans were probably not going to eat many raw, but don't you wait. These tomatoes don't need to be cooked for you to receive all the benefits of the lycopene within them. But even when they are cooked, they're still better for you than red tomatoes. Oh, they've got me. They've hooked me in, and they're reeling me in right now, okay? Right? It's healthier, so you gotta try it. So it said that tomatoes are the primary source of lycopene for human consumption. Lycopene is a powerful biological antioxidant. Scientific studies have shown that high lycopene intake is associated with a decreased risk of heart disease and cancer. And let's be honest, there's a lot of people that get cancer and heart disease, so I feel like I need to have it. And saying now the latest New Zealand research indicates that the golden/orange tomato varieties may be more beneficial for us than red tomatoes. Red tomatoes contain a form of lycopene that's not easily absorbed by the body unless they're cooked, whereas some golden and orange tomatoes contain tetracis lycopene, a form of lycopene that is easily absorbed by the body when eaten raw or cooked and delivers higher lycopene benefits. And to top that all off, not only is it so much healthier for us according to science, but the benefits, the profits from this sale are going to be paid back to the Heritage Food Crops Charitable Trust. So I am giving back to the trust company that is helping to find all these delicious new varieties that are so much healthier for us. The one thing it does say about these seeds is that no guarantee is given for germination and no refunds or replacements will be given. Seed is limited and a purchase is seen as a donation to the trust to support their ongoing work. I have started to sow some of these seeds. Okay, I haven't tried to sow any of the Golden Light yet, but of course, I did buy a couple other varieties of the heritage food crop seeds. Tangela is another one I bought. Tangela is a cherry tomato that is orange, and there's great germination with these. I also bought one that was similar to the Tangela. It's also no, it's not a cherry tomato. It's a cocktail tomato, orange. Very, very similar to Tangela. But again, I thought, I know I'm definitely gonna wanna sell one of these at the markets, and which one is that going to be? I don't know, because I haven't tried either of them before. And that means I need to try both. Right? Yeah, that's right. The only real difference between these two seems to be that one is a cherry and one is a cocktail. So one will be slightly bigger, and one of them is slightly tangier. I believe it's the Glimpse that is a slightly tangier, while the Tangela is slightly fruitier. But both are known to have both of those flavors. But they're so close, I needed to find out which one I liked better. We're not done yet. I did forget to mention that my green zebra tomatoes, I did grow these last year. Wasn't a huge fan, but I wanted to give them another go, so they were put on the list. I thought I might change my mind on those. And then, so I know I said I wasn't gonna grow any cherry tomatoes, and I know I said that I'm already growing 2, but a lot of the new interesting seeds on the King's website were cherry tomatoes. So I have a few. Last year, the past few, maybe not last year. I think I didn't have the seeds last year, but a few years before that, I was growing Brad's Atomic grape tomatoes. These are delicious. These were our favorite tomatoes when we did our tomato taste test last time. Everyone's favorite, and it was a blind taste test. And they are not the ones that I would have picked had I not been doing a blind taste test. I would have picked other ones, but these were the best. I wasn't able to grow them last year, and I wasn't planning on growing them this year, but I found more seeds. And so now I have them, and I definitely want to sell them at the market, but I thought I might want to grow 1 or 2 of those because they're good. And then, similar to those, but not exactly the same, those are a grape tomato. This is a cherry tomato, indigo gold berries. Why do I say they're similar? Only because they have a little bit of purple on them. But these tend to have a purplish top and a yellow bottom. The website also says that these are deliciously sweet. So I had to try them, and they look cool. And that's not where it ends. So now we're up to what, 4 different types of cherry tomatoes when I was going to grow none, and I have 3 more. So I have Matt's Wild Cherry. These look so cool. These are indeterminate, but these are like a blueberry size cherry tomato. So they're very, very small, they're very, very bright, and they're very prolific. And I just wanted to give them a go and thought they would also be a cool thing to maybe grow for the markets. When I choose things to grow for the markets, I don't always want to do your typical popular things because anyone can get them anywhere. I like to grow some of those other things that maybe you're not going to see in the store yet, but people are interested in growing. So I want to have a good mix of both. Things that reel people in, like I get reeled in, and look cool, so they want to try those. And while they're there having a look at that stuff, they're like, oh yeah, here's all my typical stuff as well. And so then they buy it all. Listen, I'm a gardener, and you guys are too, and you know that's exactly how it works. You get reeled in by something, you have to have it, and then you see your other things and you're like, well, I'm here, I might as well get this and this and this, and you buy more. So yeah. I just assume that everyone that's going to come to my stall to buy seedlings is just as addicted to gardening as I am. That's not always true, but there are definitely a lot of them out there that are as well. We are not alone. I have 2 more cherry tomatoes. Actually, the True Red is a cocktail tomato. True Red is just like your basic red cocktail tomato, but I am growing Sweet 100s for the markets. These are very popular. Everyone loves these. But I thought to grow something a little bit different, if I were to try these True Reds and they grow just as well as the Sweet 100s, then maybe I'll stick with the True Reds instead if they have a better taste to them. So I thought it'd be something that I'm not really interested in growing this year, but for the markets, for experimental purposes, I wanted to try that. And same thing with the Rosella. The Rosella, these are a darker red cherry tomato. This is similar to the black cherry tomato that I have grown in my garden, but I am growing for the markets. There's a couple reasons why I like to grow the dark red cherry tomatoes. One of them is they have a more complex taste to them. I would say sometimes an acquired taste, but it's a nice taste. And secondly, it takes longer for the birds to recognize that they're actually something to eat. So I have better luck putting these on trellises that aren't covered with bird netting than I do your bright red tomatoes. So as far as this goes, same reason, I wanted to try the Rosella to see if it's better than my black cherry, and then I would just continue to grow myself and grow for the markets, whichever one tastes better, whichever one grows better. So that was that. That, to me, sounds like a wonderful problem to have. I don't even see, when, I just go over all of these cool seeds, I don't even see what the issue is. The issue isn't with the fact that I couldn't choose or narrow down my varieties. The issue comes with when I'm actually trying to fit them all onto my garden plan. I told you I have 12 in my one raised garden bed that are designated for my determinate tomatoes. That's a good number. I actually like to grow 12 red ones. And that would be a good number for me if they all grew well, for a good amount of tomatoes to come in. I also am adding in a couple to my pepper bed. That's only about 4. So that, if I want to do both red and yellow, then I have to cut down on the numbers of both of them rather than growing 12 of each. The only thing I found that I can do is I might be able to add in some determinate tomatoes into the indeterminate bed. So I'm really cramming things full this year. When I look at my indeterminate bed, which I said I typically put 15 along the trellis, I have tried to grow peppers and other things in front of them because there's definitely space, but the peppers have never done well. And I don't know if that's just the placement of the peppers or the fact that they're overcrowded with the tomatoes, but the tomatoes seem to do okay. So my thought is that I would grow 3, because what I usually do is do like on each, you can't see what I'm doing, but on each side of the trellis, I'll do like 3 on one side and 2 on the other. My thought is that I'll stick with 3 right underneath the trellis and just have them come up on it. Then I would do 3 determinate tomatoes on one side of the trellis and 2 on the opposite side that are further away from the trellis going up. So then if that's the case, I can fit 8 tomatoes in each section of my tomato bed. And 8 times 3 is 24. So now we've maxed out the space, right? We have 24 tomatoes that I think I can fit into that indeterminate tomato bed, which is good because now I have, 3, 6, 9, 13. So now that's 13 and 12 is 25 25 determinate tomatoes. So that sorts out that issue. Determinate tomatoes sorted. I am going to be able to plant like 12 of each, like 12 red and 12 yellow. So that is good. Then that still leaves me now with 15 indeterminate tomatoes. And if we're looking at this, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 varieties of indeterminate tomatoes. And that is, if I plant 1 of each, I still don't have enough spaces. So I do have other spaces that I put my tomatoes. I think I can fit 3, 6 on my trellis between my first and second raised garden bed. And then I think I can fit at the end of my second raised bed 4 more. So we're at 15 and 9, what are we at? 25. So that's okay, because then I can grow a couple of each. But you know, I didn't want to just grow a couple of each. There were some I wanted to grow like 5 of each, or at least 3 of each. So I've had a really, really hard time trying to narrow down what I want to grow. I think my primary goal is to at least have 1 of each so I can taste them all and hope that they grow well. Ideally, I'd like to try 2 of each just in case something happens to one, but I don't think I'll have a chance to do that unless I find more spaces to grow them. But my primary goal is not to grow cherry tomatoes, so they have immediately been cut down to the minimum. My primary goal is to get sauce tomatoes or big tomatoes that I can make things with. And those are the ones I wanted to grow, between 3 to 5 of each. But unfortunately, I just don't have enough space. I think what I've decided is I'm not going to be able to grow Dr. Witchies this year. I've grown them for the past few years. I think we need to put them to the side because they're not heavily producing for me. They put off a few, but they never give me good results. I think I needed to, I think I caught out Brad's Atomic Grape. I don't see them on here. I don't think I am. I don't think I left a spot for Brad's Atomic. That's sad. Actually, because they taste so good. No, I wasn't going to grow them to start with. And then Matt's Wild Cherry. I think I decided I was going, oh, there's another variety I just saw on here, but I don't even, maybe I didn't even get them. Small fry tomato. Maybe that's supposed to be Matt's Wild Cherry. Don't know. I have a variety on here. I don't think I even saw the seeds for, so maybe I just didn't buy them. We'll switch that with Matt's. No, I have Matt's Wild Cherry. I don't know, guys, but I don't have enough space for all my tomatoes I want to grow. I want a bigger garden. That's the dilemma. I have plenty of in-ground space that I can put things in. The only problem is the soil's not good. I've been trying to amend it for years. It's gotten significantly better, and I found that my winter crops grow great in it, but all my summer things are just too delicate to like the soil that it is in. So I will try and grow, I guess, my surplus of tomatoes in the in-ground section, because I've added a new section. But I don't think I'm going to have good results with that. So the huge dilemma has just been trying to decide which varieties and how many of each variety that I want to put in the raised garden beds in order to get the harvest that I'm looking for. And I'm not sure that even if I'm maximizing my space, I'm going to be getting the harvest I'm looking for. There are a lot of tomatoes. It's a lot of tomatoes. But the only thing is, like I said, my determinate tomatoes are usually hit or miss. My tomato dilemma. The one thing I can say is that this is a fantastic dilemma to have, and I'm sure I will sort it out. And I'm sure I'll grow way more tomatoes than I originally had planned. And it's just that I would love to have a garden full of just tomatoes, but that's not reasonable. There's so many different varieties of tomatoes that you can get that's where the intrigue comes in, because there are so many different colors, so many different sizes, so many different varieties. I just can't handle it all. I love it. I love growing tomatoes. I love growing peppers as well, but we won't get into that. That's a whole other topic. I am growing plenty of peppers, and that's part of the reason why I'm having this tomato dilemma, is because I also love to grow peppers that I have to cut down. I don't want to cut down on the amount of peppers I'm growing to grow more tomatoes, because I love growing peppers as well. And there's also eggplant. I like having eggplant in the garden too. Oh, there's so many dilemmas with the garden. But the main one is my tomato dilemma, because in my tomato canning this year, I of course want to make a few batches of sauce and be able to freeze that. I would also like to have a good number of salsas that I can, because we go through lots of salsa and it's way cheaper to make my own salsa and can it than it is to buy it at the store. It's like $6 or $7 at the store to get not even the good type of salsa. And what else? Marinara sauce. Marinara sauce takes a lot of tomatoes and it is so good. And Allie just put my last jar of marinara sauce into the regular sauce when it's a sauce on its own. And I was saving that specifically for when the zucchini flowers start to come in, because the kids and I love to have zucchini flowers with marinara sauce. And now that was my last jar gone. What else? We, of course, love to eat tons of fresh tomatoes throughout the season. I also want to make my yellow tomato sauce, and I'd like to freeze a few batches of that. If I can, it's always good to have whole tomatoes and diced tomatoes on the shelf as well. Bruschetta would be another thing I'd love to try. I haven't tried making bruschetta. That would be a great thing to have if I have an abundance of tomatoes. There are a lot of tomato things that I would like to do that I never grow enough tomatoes for. But the more I can do of that, the better, because we eat a lot of tomatoes and tomato products throughout the year. Chili, I would love to be able to use my own tomatoes and make a huge batch of chili as well to put in the freezer. There are so many things that you can do with tomatoes. So that is my tomato dilemma. I'm sorry I ranted on and on about my tomatoes, but I love them. And I hope you can also share in the love. If there are any other tomato varieties, this is my addiction talking, but if there are any other tomato varieties that you can't go without, please put them down in the description box for me, because I would love to know what they are and give them a go. Previously, one of you guys had suggested sun gold tomatoes to me. I sell them at the market because they are good. They are so nice and sweet and they are so prolific. They didn't make the list this year because I can't fit them. But I am growing them for the market. And what happens when you grow them for the market, if they get too big and you don't sell them, they go into the garden. I don't think that happens with everyone, but that's what happens with me. If they're starting to get too big to sell, they're going into my garden. So I'm sure I will end up with a sun gold tomato this year, but they are so good. And thank you for that recommendation. They're good. So besides that, if you have any other recommendations that you know are absolutely delicious, please tell me and I will search for them. I've noticed that recently more tomato varieties are coming to New Zealand, where previously there didn't seem to be all of the different varieties that you can find in the US, and it's very difficult to get seeds into New Zealand. So yeah, it's nice to see more and more varieties coming in. So like I said, if you have recommendations, please share them with me and I will scour the internet for those types of varieties here in New Zealand. And it doesn't matter what kind they are. I'll try anything. But that is it. That is all about my tomato and my dilemma with them in this year's garden. But thanks for listening and I will catch you in the next one, guys. But in the meantime, check out some of these videos here and I'll see you later.